So the her audio of the elderly man with a poor memory, aka our former president, is out, plus a cancer diagnosis. So all this to say, if you ever trust a Democrat again, that'd be far too soon. The show starts in just a moment, but first, a word from our brand new sponsor, and I'm very excited about this one. All right. The red light face mask from Bond Charge is your go to solution for radiant, youthful looking skin. It's designed to help reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles and promote a more even skin tone. It's the perfect way to boost your confidence with a radiant, glowing complexion. With just 10 minutes a day, this cordless and effortless mask fits seamlessly into your routine, letting you enjoy your session while going about your day. Now, listen, off script for a moment. I've been wanting to try one of these red light masks for years now, and I was so excited when Bond Charge sent me one. I've been using it for about a week and a half, all right? I'm going to keep you posted on the results, but so far, so good. I love it. It's easy. It's convenient. You know I love a good beauty hack, and this is exactly that. So if you want to try it for yourself, go to bondcharge.com. Use the coupon code TOMI, T-O-M-I, to save 15%. That's bondcharge, BONCHARGE.com/Tommy. Use my code TOMI to save 15%. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the show on YouTube at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. The show starts now. I want to start off by saying this, and I mean it very sincerely. I am so sorry to hear of former President Biden's prostate cancer diagnosis. I don't wish that kind of thing on anyone. My heart is with him and his family as they grapple with this horrible disease. That being said, it does not mean Biden's inner circle, his aides, his cabinet, the Democrat Party, or the mainstream media will now get a get-out-of-jail-free card to entirely avoid the conversation surrounding his mental decline and physical decline while president. That's a separate thing. And yes, we will still be discussing it. Joe Biden was our 46th president, leader of the free world, commander-in-chief, and sadly and seemingly not up to the job. I've been saying it for well over 5 years. If you're a human or even a well-trained pet, you saw it too. But Democrats are telling us it just snuck up on them less than a year ago. Yeah, that's a lie. But it's not breaking news. Here's what is. The audio from the special counsel Robert Hur's taped interview with President Joe Biden dating back to October 2023. That's been released by the Trump administration. Now, as a refresher for you, these interviews went down because Sleepy Joe was accused of mishandling classified documents, like in his garage, behind his Corvette, in plain sight of his drug-addicted son. There was really no question as to whether he did it. The reason he got away with it is special counsel Hur found Joe to be so out of it, he didn't think jurors would see Joe as malicious or nefarious, just senile and inept. He was the president, mind you. The Biden White House, whoever was running it, we don't really know, kept the audio from us, saying Republicans would chop it up, distort it, paint a bad picture of Sleepy Joe. You've read the transcripts. They were bad enough. Here is the audio obtained by Fox News.
Months ago, dying, got amazed during his 2015 he died. 2015. And what's happened in the meantime is that as Trump gets elected in November of 2016. My problem was I never knew where any of the documents or boxes were specifically coming from or who packed them. It just that I'd get them delivered to me. And so I'm at this stage in 2009. Am I still vice president? Yeah.
That man had access to the nuclear codes. That man was our commander-in-chief. That man was leader of the free world. That audio sounded like a message from the crypt. Democrats lied. The media lied. They're all liars. Jill Biden is evil, by the way. And the only real question that remains is, who really was president from January 2021 to January 2025? Because your guess is as good as mine. Joining me now with his best guess on all the breaking news is Utah Congressman, our friend Burgess Owens. Congressman, we have a lot to get to, but I have to go to the breaking news right now. Now, listen, anytime someone is diagnosed with any disease, any illness, cancer, our heart breaks for their family and going through this very difficult time. But I think that we are well within our rights to examine what possibly went down here. I want to get your first reaction to the breaking news of the cancer diagnosis, because a lot of this feels very convenient and coincidental, given the timing of a lot of these Biden tell-all books.
Well, first of all, Tommy, I also echo your prayers for the president and his family. It's a tough thing to go through, but I can speak now as a 17-year survivor of prostate cancer. It is impossible to get to this point where he is right now. Nobody knows. And from that point of view, my biggest concern is how in the world can we have a party that really doesn't care about getting the truth out to American people? So we have not only someone who's dealing with prostate cancer during the time he was president, probably vice president, probably before that, because it's a long process in many cases. But we have this process, and we also have, of course, what's happening with the declining middle process is going through. So it shows that we have a party that really is focused on power. And that is the worst thing we can do when we have in power, when we have the focus should be on we the people. So it is, again, something I've dealt with, families across the country deal with, and those of us men who do have dealt with this realize there's no way you can find this out at the last minute at the stage that it is right now.
Congressman, thank you for giving us that insight into your own battle with prostate cancer. I didn't know you went through that. But a lot of folks, a lot of medical experts, of course, all over social media, everybody has an opinion, but medical experts are saying, just as you said, that to get to this stage where it has metastasized to the bones, that's not something that just happens overnight. It's not something that's just one day you have it and it's this state. I'm not a doctor, but it's your assessment that either the physician missed this, and that's really abhorrent, or this could have been going on for quite some time. We've heard some medical experts on MSNBC, I'm going to play the clip in a moment, saying that this could have been years in the making, but that's what you see from your perspective as someone who has survived this cancer?
Well, and just understand it's a very easy disease to detect. It's a blood test. It's something called PSA, and get an elevation of that. Then they say, okay, something might be going wrong. Let's take a deeper look at it. And then you have the discussion of how you're going to deal with it. There's different ways of going at it, different dealing with it. I'm thankful that the way that we treated it worked out well for me. But this is not something that comes at the last minute. And now they're saying, he and Jill are saying they're going to figure out what's going to happen next. So that should have happened years and years ago. And so it just points to a fact that we have a party, an ideology that does not care about the American people, don't even care about people that they're using to move forward their agenda. It's a godless ideology, and we have to understand that. That's why education is so important for our country. We need to teach Americans what it is to not only have the remarkable legacy that we have, but things like Marxism that is totally against everything we stand for, because that's what we're dealing with. And now we see the result of it is that it's no transparency. It's all about power. And no matter who gets hurt in the process, these folks do not care. So this is just one piece, again, of the big puzzle we have to work through as we look back on this last 4 years.
Yeah, we feel like we've just been lied to, and it's really hard to separate fact from fiction at this point. We've also been coming off of, at least 5 years of being told that we as the American people are not allowed to ask questions. You couldn't ask questions about COVID. You couldn't ask questions about the vaccine. You couldn't ask about Joe Biden's mental decline. Now it seems like they're setting us up to not be able to ask about the cancer diagnosis, but we've been lied to so much that there are a lot of Americans who are going to ask more questions than we typically would because we're so tired of being lied to. I do want to play that clip because I was stunned. It was on MSNBC with a physician saying exactly what you said about this prostate cancer diagnosis. Let's take a listen.
You believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
So again, I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you were saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
Congressman, there's got to be some accountability here. We are so sick and tired of being lied to about all of this. And then last week we had, as I played the Hur audio being released, we've got a big book on Joe Biden's mental decline by Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson coming out. And this feels like very convenient timing to chill speech surrounding it. You know, we all want to be compassionate. We all want to be delicate when someone's dealing with a health crisis. But this feels like they're trying to get us to shut up about it.
Well, let me just say this, Tommy. You're spot on with all that. Here's the upside: the American people are waking up, have woken up. The American people, we have within our DNA. We love freedom. We don't like to be lied to. We don't like to be used, abused, and discarded. And we also have this tendency of kind of standing on the sideline, thinking everything's will be okay because we have our freedom. We're building our dreams. The American people, the last 4 years, have recognized that has been at risk. And there's nothing more powerful. I mean, there's voices like yourself, voices on Fox, all folks have been talking about this. But when the American people start getting engaged, start asking questions, and start realizing this doesn't make any sense, the side that's against them is in trouble. And that's what's happening to the Democratic Party right now. I don't know what they can do. Basically, I don't think anything, because until they go back to caring about America first, and that's impossible for Marxists, they're not going to be in a good position from this point moving forward for quite a while. And the other point, I just want to make this point again, now that we're focusing on educating our kids, so important. And this is what President Trump said back when he was running. He's going to push the Marxists back 30 years. And this is exactly what he's doing right now. So it's up to us now that we're understanding this, that we stand up to make sure our kids understand what's going on right now, what we're up against, so they don't slip their way in like little termites to do this again to us in the near future.
You're right. We need some accountability. Speaking of our kids, Congressman, I am so happy and grateful that you've been speaking out, as many Republicans have, about the integrity of women's sports. It's really sad that we're still having this discussion. I think it's a 90-10 issue, maybe even less than that. People want women to be able to compete in our sports. I want to play a clip before we dive right into this, because Hillary Clinton has some thoughts on the patriarchy. She doesn't seem to worry about the patriarchy in women's sports, but here's her commentary, of course, again, about Republican women. Let's take a listen to this.
What advice do you have for the first female president of the United States?
Well, first of all, don't be a handmaiden to the patriarchy, which kind of eliminates every woman on the other side of the aisle, except for very few. Lisa Murkowski.
Liz Cheney.
Yeah, there's a few. Look, first we have to get there, and it is, obviously so much harder than it should be. If a woman runs who I think would be a good president, as I thought Kamala Harris would be, and as I knew I would be, I will support that woman.
So she's at it again. She doesn't care. She completely disparages just conservative Republican women at large, except for the two that she excluded from that list. So that's very condescending, very stupid, moronic. I'm not surprised coming from Hillary. But I don't know how, Congressman, she says that we need to reject the patriarchy. I can't think of anything more patriarchal than having men hijack our sports. How can they even say these things about the patriarchy with a straight face?
Well, first of all, you and I are talking common sense. Let me just say one other thing about the left, the Marxist left Democrats. They're the same ones that said that we don't vote for Democratic people who are not black. So just understand that's the way they frame things, and they want to divide us in every way possible. No, what we're talking about right now is a very common sense process. And I'll say this: I was so proud to be raised by the greatest generation in our history. My dad's generation came back from World War II, and I tell you what it taught us. He taught us to love God. That generation taught us to love God, country, family, respect women, and authority. So the idea that we're now saying men can feel okay to go out and beat up on women, that they can compete and take away their opportunities, that is so against the American way. And that's why American people are standing up against it. So 90-10, I would agree with that. And so we have to make sure that we're putting in place and codify and then educate our people, our folks, of what this anti-American ideology looks like. Marxism hates faith, family, the free market education. That's what we love. So this is another iteration of how to destroy the family by attacking and disrespecting women in the way that men are now being taught to do that.
Well, I'm so happy that you share that view and you're fighting so hard. And I'm also really grateful that you brought up something that's very, top of mind to us at Outkick, which is we still really can't get a straight answer from Nike about this trans study that apparently the whole purpose of it was to see if by debilitating young boys through puberty blockers, hormones, and the like, that you could debilitate them to such a level that they wouldn't have a competitive advantage competing against women. Now, we're not really able to get a straight answer from Nike whether they're partially funding studies like this. And I'm so happy that you've spoken out about it. But boy, this feels very icky. I've called it abusive. What's your take?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Outkick for not only seeing this, but bringing it to America's attention and for keeping it up front. No, this is what's called evil. When you're taking children, experimenting on children to see how it works out, so for your political agenda, it is pure evil. And I think that's what we have to understand again. When we talk about the idea of power, our country believes in we the people. We believe that we the people should have the power. We should work with our kids. We're the stakeholders of our kids and take care of them. The other side wants to destroy the family unit. In doing that, they do stuff like this because they're godless. It's a godless ideology, and they have no fear of just going across their red line. I would say this. The American people need to keep up with this. Nike's the same group, by the way, that goes to China and use slave labor to bring their goods over here and become billionaires. This organization I have been against for a long, long time. When they started promoting kneeling back in the day when the flag was being raised, this is an organization that we need to take a good, solid look at. I would not buy a thing that has a switch on it myself. And I think once American people start showing our power by the way we use our purse, then all of a sudden the organization will put the right kind of leadership in place so that they don't have to have this kind of pushback before they get it right. We need to focus on American people first, our culture, and teach our kids what that looks like.
You're exactly right. Thank you for your advocacy on that. I have to ask you about the big, beautiful bill. A lot of people asking questions right now. And I'll tell you my frustration as somebody who supports, I believe, in the big, beautiful bill. Now, maybe not everything in it. We can't always get what we want. But my question for you is this, because I've been a little disappointed on the messaging from Republicans. The left has run away with this notion that Republicans, through the big, beautiful bill, are going to cut Social Security, they're going to cut Medicare, they're going to cut Medicaid, they're going to leave grandma and grandpa and the most vulnerable amongst us without the safety net that they actually need. And that's the storyline they're running with. I don't know if Republicans have done a good enough job refuting that and giving complete transparency. So I want to give you that opportunity to speak to the people out there that have been shaken by the Democrat message on this, clarify it so they can feel a little better about what you guys are working on.
Well, let me just start by saying, no, understand who controls the media. It's the left. And fear is their end game. That's how they operate. We've on our side talked very, very plainly about getting rid of fraud, waste, and that we're going to make sure that this system is set up better for our senior citizens and anybody who relies on these systems. And actually, I think President Trump is doing a good job of also doing that. Let me just say this. The most important thing is that we as a team push this through, that we understand at the end of the day is that we have a mandate, that we push this process through, and the bill itself will prove itself. What's going to happen as we get it through and the American people start to see what's in it for them, that when we're looking at families between $30,000 to $80,000 with 2 kids saving 15% of their taxes, those kind of things will show themselves as we get this process through. And what's going to happen once we show ourselves to be true, and the Democrats again doing what they do best, fear mongering, it's going to be better for our party. I think the biggest thing we can do right now is continue to keep our promises. Know that in 2026 we get a bigger majority, we can do even more, and American people will come our way and will never go back to the lies of the Democrats. The way I came 40 years ago, I came over. And right now, the Black community, Hispanic community, Jewish communities are doing the same. They're realizing that the Republican Party is really where the promises of our nation have always been, and we're going to make sure we come with it and stay with it for sure.
Well, I appreciate you clarifying that because there are a lot of folks that are getting a lot of misinformation, and we have to make sure that we have our Republican leaders making it very clear to cut through all the noise on that. Congressman, why are Democrats fighting so hard to keep criminal illegal aliens in this country and even worse, roaming the streets? I mean, I can't wrap my mind around it. You know, they used to say that they wanted the criminal ones out. At least they gave us that. And now they seem to want the criminals out too, because they're out in front of detention facilities where the worst of the worst are being detained. They want them out. I can't for the life of me figure out how this is a political strategy that they find to be a winning one. But what the heck is going on with your colleagues?
Well, you know, we think in terms of logic, and it doesn't make any sense because we're using logic. To the left is religion. They want power. They want disruption. They want chaos. And the power of our nation is the rule of law. We can only dream big. We only build our businesses and go out and do certain things if we feel comfortable and safe. The other side of the aisle says if they have more chaos, if they have more fear, it gives them more power. That's the way this works. Again, if you understand that we have been at a fight from the very beginning, our Judeo-Christian values, those that believe in we the people and becoming a more perfect union, that has always been our way. The other side, the Marxist side, is just the opposite. They want chaos. They want destruction. They want us to lose our dreams. And you watch what's happened to any community, that has bought into their rhetoric, like the Black community that I came from. We bought into their rhetoric for 60 years. You see the results of that today. That's changing, and American people across the board saying, I'm sick and tired of this. I want to be safe. I want to dream. I want to make sure my kid is my legacy, my greatest gift to our country. I want to know I can take a risk and know that it's going to be okay because I can always come back and try again. That's the American way, American dream. The left hates every bit of that. And that's what we need to understand, Tom. We have to make sure that as we're teaching our kids to move forward, this is an evil option that we have. And we came real close to going over the edge. Thank goodness for the American people. We brought ourselves back. And now that we're back, we're going to move forward in a big, big way to give our kids the greatest opportunities that they can ever think of.
I appreciate you for saying that. The last thing I want to ask you about is a little bit of a sports pop culture thing, because it was before the Biden cancer diagnosis really took over social media. There was a lot of folks talking about this apparent feud, which is quite obvious, between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. All right. So we've got some of the footage here. There was a foul that took place. And there's a lot of folks out there, myself included, who kind of feel like maybe Angel Reese just to the bone hates Caitlin Clark. I know that this is not in the purview of the United States Congress, but I got to get you to weigh in here. I wish that women could succeed in sports and be able to play against one another without their catfighting being the center story and discussion. But I don't think this feud is going anywhere, and I want your take on it and the media coverage on it. I think it's important. We need to hear your voice.
I think, number one, competition is great, and those who are very strong competitors sometimes get to that edge where they just really they take it personal, and that's kind of a normal thing. And I think at some point, if it stays within their purview, respect comes out of it at the very end of the day. I would say this: what I'm concerned about, is that we get into the racist issue. Once we get across the line, where it's no longer about competition, about how well you bring in your game to your talent to the game. When it starts to get into race, that's when our country goes in a different direction, and we cannot allow that to happen. Again, this is why we have to make sure that we're teaching our kids to respect each other, look at each other inside out, not outside in, and to teach our correct history, because this shows up in things like this in the sports, and we have to make sure we're staying on top of that. So I'm hoping that that this swells down. Competition is great. It is great for the game itself, particularly for WBA. But let's make sure that we don't get into the race card as we move along in this area.
It's really unfortunate when you've got two stars, both that have had, endorsement deals, they're front and center, and it has become about race. Caitlin Clark, for her part, she's really bowed down. She's given all the credit to the Black women. She's kissed the ring. She's bowed to the mob. That's still not enough, though. Congressman, no. They still hate her, and it's hard to look past the fact that she, being a white woman doing well in the sport, it's hard to look past the race issue of it all. I hope that we can, though, because I want women to succeed in women's sports. I want them to reject the patriarchy in the women's sports, and I'm hoping that we can just get that back for a league that's finally getting attention. I hope they don't ruin it.
Can I say this? Tommy? What I loved about sports and in the military, Those are two places where meritocracy really shows up, with merit, where respect. When you start seeing where the walls were broken down in our country back in the 60s, 70s, it was sports and military. Because you realize I don't care what the outside looks like, as long as that they have my back, that we can win together. That is what the American way is all about. That's what this simulation, that's what looking at each other inside out, not outside, is all about. We teach hate, and people start to learn from their parents and their environment how to hate others. Let's not allow that to happen. Let's continue to speak up and talk about merit and lead on merit. And we do that, everything else begins to just wash away, and we begin to respect each other the way that the way our country's vision has always been.
I don't think we're a racist nation at heart, and it's really unfortunate there are some that want to drive us to that point where race is all we talk about, and identity and sexual preference, and I just think we should be red, white, and blue. I hope we can get back there. Thank you so much, Congressman, for taking the time today to break down all the biggest news stories. I really appreciate your perspective and everything you're doing for the American people. God bless you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Tommy. Thanks for your voice. At the end of the day, it's we the people. Everybody that does their part, get on the field and make this work. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thanks
all
so
the
much,
best.
Congressman. I hope to have you back. Thanks again. All right, folks, Joe Biden has just now been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread to his bone. The question the world is asking is, how was this missed until just now? And I have some final thoughts. Once again, let me preface this all by saying I deeply feel for Joe Biden and his family. We've all likely been touched in some way by the horrible disease and diagnosis of cancer. Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't matter. We put humanity and decency first and foremost. Joe is a former president, a father, a grandfather, and a husband. So our thoughts are with that entire family as they fight this cancer. But as a concerned citizen, I'm also not going to shy away from saying what many of us are thinking. How did a former president with arguably the best medical care and team in the world get taken by surprise at this advanced diagnosis? Many of us are questioning it, and it doesn't mean because we're mean or insensitive or harsh. It's because we've been lied to for well over 5 years about Joe's physical and mental state, and this all just feels very odd. As President Trump's former physician and many others have pointed out, for his medical team to really have missed the signs and symptoms of prostate cancer until it got to this advanced point is really hard to fathom. Was this part of the cover-up too? How can anybody fault us for questioning it after all the lies we've been fed to this point? The timing of this announcement very coincidentally comes just as the Biden White House tell-all books are coming out, and those in his inner circle, as well as prominent and powerful Democrats, are being needled about what they knew and when they knew it. This all feels like it was meant to chill the discussion of all that, and for some it might. Some may not feel up to discussing the big lie due to this recent news, and that's their choice. But this whole thing, the way it came out, when it came out, it feels very, very off. And I wish I didn't have to feel that way, but given the track record, the years of lies piled on lies, well, this is where we are. And those are my final thoughts. Please be sure to tune in live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Catch full episodes of the show, of course, on outkick.com and Fox Nation whenever you like. Please also like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. From Nashville, God bless and take care. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want more of my hottest takes, must-see conversations, and of course, my final thoughts, click here and make sure you subscribe here so you never miss a beat. I'll be here every weekday, and I hope you'll join me.